Welcome to Our Hometown, the show where we take an in-depth look at the people and organizations that make this area unique. I'm your host, Jim McCallum. First, Rhonda Merritt and Becky Stedman will speak about communities in schools and their upcoming CIS Gala. Then, Matt Ernst will tell us about the Brunswick County Literacy Council's annual golf tournament. And finally, we'll learn about the 20th annual Candlelight Memorial Service for families of crime victims with John and Ben David. So stay with us for the next half hour as we explore our hometown. My guests are from communities and schools. To my immediate left is Rhonda Merritt, and just to her left is Becky Stedman. Nice to see you both. We're glad you're here.
Nice to see you.
Communities in Schools has such a great story, and I'm glad that both of you are here to help us tell that story. Becky, let me start with you. Tell our viewing audience just what Communities in Schools is all about.
Great question. Communities in Schools is a national organization to begin with, and under that we're an affiliate. We refer to Communities in School here in Brunswick County as CIS, and it is for dropout prevention. That is the key for our education for our children, is getting them early,
right,
preventing the dropout at an early age.
Right. I want our viewers to know that your Communities in School, our Brunswick County organization, is one of the premier organizations in North Carolina and perhaps around the country.
We are the standard bearer. We have had many
Very well said.
Yes, we have had many compliments on our program. We've been here for 20 years. In fact, this year we're celebrating our 20th anniversary, and we are proud of our Communities in School organization.
That's a perfect segue. We want our viewers to know of the great gala event that's coming up soon. Give us the time, place, and all the particulars, and we'll make sure we say that several times.
The gala this year will be held at the Sea Trail Resort in Sunset Beach.
Right.
It's going to be on November the 5th, which is a Thursday night from 6 to 10. And we're going to have live music by the Band of Oz, lots of dancing, a silent and live auction, and it'll be hosted by John David, our Brunswick County District Attorney.
Right. I like to say it's 600 of our closest friends.
Absolutely.
And it is.
Yes,
600
it is.
or more. The place is absolutely packed.
Yes.
And if you want to see your friends in Brunswick County, you'll see most of them there.
Yes.
Let's talk about the cost.
We actually still have some sponsor packets left from the range of $500 to $3,000. That's
$5,000.
$5,000.
Okay.
That's
And the cost of individual tickets.
It's $125 a ticket
Okay.
Before the event, and $150 at the door.
Okay. And it's a sellout or a near sellout every single year?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the programs. Obviously, you take the money that you raise in this and other sources and you use it for after-school programs and for other worthy endeavors. What are some of the other programs that Communities in Schools is involved with? Particularly, I wanted to talk about the after-school program.
Okay. Well, first of all, we have Teen Court, which is such a response within the community.
So many of us know about that.
Absolutely. We're written up in the paper all the time. We have Peer Court. This is something that's positive for these children. That's what they need. We also have family environment with counseling, anything we can do to help the family, to help their child, to give a positive reinforcement to the children. And then we have our after-school programs.
Now that's the academic side.
That's the
Let's
academic
talk about that
side.
for a minute.
The academic side for the after-school program is this is an environment where the kids are there. They have tutors. They have volunteers, which is so important, to help with their homework. But it provides a safe environment for them. And then during the summer, we have summer camp. And again, they're exposed to a wide variety of activities. It's not just going and playing volleyball or horseshoes.
Right.
They want them to experience, they go on trips, they go on field trips. It's just a wide range of activities.
And you help me out, but the general idea is to catch these students in the early grades and get them back up to grade level so that we can avoid the dropout syndrome, which we all know about. Right?
Yes,
Indeed.
and we are targeting the children. We want them to stay in school. We want them to have the resources to succeed,
Right.
not only in school, but in life.
Right.
And without these, we have case managers that are within the schools to help identify these children, provide them with whatever resources, Jim, that they need to continue with their success.
Right. Rhonda, you're one of the professionals. There's a full-time staff here in the county, but in addition, you have hundreds, literally hundreds of volunteers.
We
Tell
do.
us about that.
We do. We have volunteers that help out in the thrift stores,
Right.
which the 3 thrift stores we have located in the area. We have volunteers that help at the school, volunteers that come in the office and help with addressing envelopes or invitations or whatever we need them to do. I just went to a volunteer fair, and we have volunteers that are from the school system or have been teachers in the past who are so much interested in tutoring and mentoring the kids at the schools.
And here in Brunswick County, we're volunteer rich.
Yes,
Because we
absolutely.
have so many retirees, and so many of them are dedicated to CIS or other worthy endeavors.
Yes, indeed.
Rhonda, let me go to you. Let's talk about how CIS is funded. I know you have several funding streams.
All of our funding comes from mostly from a lot from grants. We sure also have donations from the community.
Sure.
Corporate donations, as well as our thrift shops, our 3 thrift shops in the area, located in Southport, Sunset Beach, and Boiling Spring Lakes.
Okay.
And then, of course, our gala.
Right. Becky, tell us a little bit more about the thrift shops.
The thrift shops.
The community has been very supportive, am I right?
Oh, we've lived all over the country, Jim, and I have always say and will say to anyone, I have never been in a community like Brunswick County. They are so supportive. It's just amazing to me. I smile every time I go in. I volunteer on Tuesdays. I love going in. I'm down at Sunset Beach. But the community, they're there. If they're cleaning the closet, it's coming to CIS.
Right.
If they're relocating and they're bringing, they're so happy to find us. We even have, during the summer, we have vacationers who are teachers from up in Pennsylvania.
And it's a two-way street. It's products in and products out.
Absolutely.
So you depend on both.
They bring their grandchildren's outgrown clothes and toys down because they don't have a communities in school in their area.
That's wonderful.
And they are teachers and they are supportive of our program.
I want to jump back to teen court and peer court.
Yes.
Teen court is at the high school level.
Yes.
Peer court is at the middle school level.
Middle school level.
Tell us very briefly what teen court and peer court do.
Peer court is exactly as it says. This is meeting with their peers inside a classroom, an area, discussing any little infractions that might come up, that they can work and talk out their issues and everything. It might be a minor argument with a friend or someone they pass in the hall.
But it's modeled after a court system.
It's modeled after a court system.
And under the best of circumstances, and it does occur this way, these young kids stay out of the court system by being...
On the high school level, yes. They have the teen court at the courthouse in a courtroom.
Right.
They have attorneys who work with these students.
Right, absolutely.
There's a prosecutor. There's a, the defense counsel, everything, and they can bring witnesses. And the jury is made up with a group of their peers
Students, right.
that go back into the deliberation room, come out with what their punishment
Right,
will be,
right.
and it is then so handed down and so followed
It's a
through
great
with.
program. Let's remind our viewers of the gala event, time, place, and other particulars, please.
The gala, again, will be held at the Sea Trail Resort in Sunset Beach from 6 to 10. We'll have the live music, again, by the Band of Oz, lots of dancing, lots of fun. So we'd love to have everybody attend.
And we'll have the website and contact information on our screen.
Yes, the website and contact information. Please feel free to go on our website and and purchase tickets, or you can call the office. We'd love to have you.
Rhonda and Becky, thank you for being with
Thank
us.
you
It's
for
been a
having
pleasure,
us.
and CIS is one of our treasures here in Brunswick County.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
My guest is Matt Ernst. Matt is with the Literacy Council here in Brunswick County. Matt, thanks for being with us.
Great to be here.
You guys have a great story to tell, and I'm glad you're with us today. Let's talk generally about what your Literacy Council does and some of the programs.
We do several things. Mostly, we do all with adults. It's always free. It's usually a one-on-one kind of a situation where you're the tutor, I'm the student. You speak English, I speak English. And that's kind of a adult basic literacy.
How do you find the students, or how do they find you?
They come to us either individually on their own, or they come by referral, or because somebody's spouse said, you know, this just isn't working.
Right.
You got to do something.
Yeah.
Or an employer encourages them to increase their skills. It's not like people don't speak English at all, but they might want to speak English better, or read. It's not just speaking.
And this is your chance to
reading.
say to all our viewing public, if they have a problem with literacy, come see you.
Right, 754-7323.
Great.
Or 754-READ.
Good.
And that's spelled R-E-A-D.
We'll get that and the website and other information
Yeah.
on the subscreen for sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it's always adult. It's basic stuff, one-on-one free tutoring.
You have an event coming up this
The
fall.
golf tournament.
Right, let's talk
October
about that.
17th, Carolina National. It's a great tournament, $85. We give everything away.
What do
I
you
don't-
get for $85?
Everything.
A lot.
Yeah, right. Get a great lunch.
Yeah.
You get golf. You get free subscription to Golf Digest. A snack to begin with. A great day. Free entry into a $10,000 hole-in-one prize, which somebody has won, by the way.
Great.
First year we started that.
And even great weather.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Outstanding. And Carolina National is just such a great
That's a terrific course.
Great course.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great course.
so-
27 holes of great golf.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We'll mention that again. I want our viewers to know about that.
Right.
Back to a few of the programs. You mentioned prior to our going on the air that you have a program at the local detention facility here in Brunswick County.
Right. We've been doing that for about 3 years, and that gets us really kind of off of the one-on-one thing. We have tutors that go into the detention facility for 1 day a week, 3 hours, and it's basically GED tutoring to get people up to speed so that they can get to the tests, the high school equivalency exams, and I believe there are 4 of them, and you take them in sequence, and so that's a really great program.
But it's a win-win-win because these mostly men, I assume.
Yep, we do just men right now.
Okay, these young men have the opportunity to get a GED, but you also battle the issue of recidivism. Tell us
Absolutely.
about that.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, not only do they get a GED, but they also get out of the system, which oftentimes is, as you know, is just a in and out and in and out and in and out thing. So if they can get out by learning to read and get a job and
The defining principle being, as these young men get an education, they leave the criminal world.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's almost that
because
simple.
they can. Yeah, right. And as far as I remember, I may not have been listening all the time, but as far as I remember, the recidivism rate for those who've been through the program is 0.
Astounding.
No
Really.
repeats.
That's wonderful.
No repeat offenders, and that's incredible.
That tells the story. It really does.
Right, and I've often said that the Literacy Council is not just in the business of helping people to read. It's really in the business of transforming people's lives.
Right.
And that's really what we're involved in.
Well said.
Yeah.
Let's talk about ESL.
ESL.
English as a second language.
Right. So now we're adults. You're the tutor. You speak English. I don't. Or I maybe speak some English, but I don't really read it very well. And so you as the tutor, you don't have to learn my language. I have to learn your language. That's
Right.
why I'm here.
Right.
Okay? So it's English for speakers of other languages. So I speak Farsi or I speak Hindi or whatever it is.
It's not all Spanish, is it?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Right. We have a lot of people here in Brunswick County who are not Spanish-speaking people. So it's basically the same thing: one-on-one tutoring, free of charge for adults, for speakers of other languages, and it's what you think it is.
You know, time doesn't permit, but I'll bet you could tell me awesome stories of individuals whose lives have been so dramatically changed
It's incredible.
by learning to read.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And not only they, but their other members of their family. I mean, people come in and they say, why do you want to be able to read better? Because I want to read stories to my kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you think about that. I want to be
It's a
able to
great
read
reason.
stories to my kids,
Yeah.
who can read circles around me as their parent, but I want to be able to just
Yeah.
read stories to my kids. I mean, that just kills me when I hear that.
Matt, I know you always need volunteers.
Oh, man.
And not just those who are one-on-one tutors, but volunteers from all walks of life.
Oh, yes, right. I mean, we have a web guy who, I can't give you his name, but Len does a great job with all of our web stuff, and people behind the scenes doing data entry.
Sure.
And,
They're all invaluable services.
right. I mean, it's just like, everybody, you have people up front and then you have all your support staff.
Sure.
And it's the support staff that keeps the thing going.
Right.
So Dot Her is a wonderful executive director, but we have great need for volunteers at all levels. Right.
And we'll have the contact information on the screen.
Yeah, okay, great.
Great.
Terrific.
One other program that I'm very fond of is your adult spelling bee.
Oh yeah, every spring now in May, that's really a lot of fun. It's an adult spelling bee.
Right.
Teams of 2 people. For this, there is a charge. It's a fundraiser, and we have an auction connected with that also.
We talked
so.
offline before the show about a couple of unique spelling words, huh?
That's right. I've been in charge of it for 6 or 7 years, and I had to learn how to spell Krzyzewski.
Wow.
Which,
You want to do that on the air?
no.
Okay.
K-R-Z-Y.
Okay.
The E-W-S-K-I.
Fantastic.
Right. Yeah.
Let's give our folks here at ATMC a big boost. They're the ones that help us make that happen.
They're just
on
incredible.
TV.
The gift that they give to the Literacy Council for the spelling bee and taping it and then running it ad nauseum the entire year. I mean, it is just great. And the production value that they bring to the taping is just incredible.
Absolutely. I've watched it over and over. It's a lot of fun. And
yeah.
it reaches literally thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah. I think we started with Jennifer and then with Kat, and
Right.
And it just keeps on going and gets better. And great. And Nathan behind the scenes there.
Well, kudos to them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But we're real fans of ATMC.
So are we. Let's wrap this up with the details again about the golf tournament. We want our viewers to know about the golf tournament, time, place, event, all of that.
Registration is online as well as handwritten, but October 17th starts at 8 o'clock with the gathering of the clan, and then 9 o'clock for getting out there and beating the ball. And it's Carolina National in Bolivia, and $85. And you get everything with that.
You sure get a lot for $85.
It's unbelievable.
don't you? Yeah.
We give half that stuff away. I mean, it's amazing. But and the people at Carolina National are great.
They're terrific.
They've been wonderful to work with. They've been really good to the agency. So we're very pleased with that. And it's just come out and come. I know you've been a part of some of our work too, and
I have.
really appreciate that. Yeah. So
Matt Ernst, thanks for being with us. It's a great interview, and what you and others do at the Literacy Council is terrific.
well, we love the work.
Thanks again.
Thanks.
My guests are John David and Ben David. Gentlemen, welcome to our show.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you,
Thank
Jim.
you so much, Jim.
You guys have a great story to tell us today. It's about the 20th annual Candlelight Memorial Service for families of, help me out, victims of crime?
homicides.
Of homicides?
Exactly.
Thank you. John, tell us about it.
Well, thank you for allowing me to go first, Jim. That is my birthright. I'm actually 3 minutes older than my baby brother. And for those that don't know us, we're identical twins, and we're also neighboring district attorneys.
And tell us about the counties that you serve.
We service a 5-county region in southeastern North Carolina. Brunswick, Bladen, and Columbus is my jurisdiction, and Ben is New Hanover and Pender counties.
Right, right.
And so collectively, I service an area that's slightly larger than the state of Delaware. And what we've learned over time is that bad things happen to good people wherever you live.
Absolutely.
And the biggest cases in the criminal justice are those that involve homicide offenses. And so what we've tried to do on an annual basis is connect a community of sufferers around an event, and that is this Candlelight Memorial Service that's going to take place on November 20th, right out in front of Magnolia Greens.
This is the 20th annual. Let's talk about how it got started, and the name Bertie Frank comes to my mind.
It does. You know, Bertie Frank is a hero of mine. You know, she is somebody that turned you know, a personal tragedy into help for so many. The silver lining of her daughter's murder, which happened in 1994 when her daughter Amy was murdered here in Brunswick County, she decided to do something about that, and she created a group called Justice for Citizens, which has been a tremendous advocacy resource in this whole region, really. And she's the one that actually started this Candlelight Memorial Service 20 years ago. And so my brother and I are doing nothing more than carrying on a proud tradition of making sure that we're connecting folks who are similarly situated, who have lost brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, and children.
She's a hero, and we asked her to be on this show, but she's such a modest lady that she declined, but I want to talk about
Well, and that's
her
where we
sure.
come in, because we're not. And I want to say this, that in speaking for the dead, it's the most awesome obligation in the criminal justice system. And we do that in a courtroom, but once a year we also do that very publicly.
Right.
And to be clear, this night is about remembering loss, but also celebrating life, and really to bring awareness to what we call the ripple effect.
That's well said.
You know, when there's someone who loses a life, you know, the family, of course, is deeply impacted, and sometimes the entire community. And what we do on this night is recognize the heroes in our community, like law enforcement. Many of them are there. We recognize the families that are left behind, and we celebrate the lives of people, because sometimes they become famous through these incidences. And we're not here to talk about the one moment they died, but the whole life that they lived, and really celebrate that, because this night's about bringing peace to this region rather than about talking about violence.
And I know it's not your purpose just to ask large numbers of people to come to this event, but if there are those out there in the viewing audience that think they'd like to be a part of this, if they are victims themselves, are they welcome?
We would welcome them to come. In fact, they don't even have to have had a case handled by one of us or in this 5-county region to even have their loved one recognized. If they've lost a member of their family to a crime of violence, which can include, of course, guns and knives, but also,
sure,
you know, car accidents, we you know, put their picture in a PowerPoint display. We read out their name. We give them a moment to bring a rose forward in honor of their loved one. It's open to the public, and we are going to have many important guests there. But the real feature of this night is, again, to honor everybody who has been impacted by these tragedies.
Right. You cover the 5 counties, but you move back and forth from New Hanover to Brunswick?
So last year it was at my church, which is First Presbyterian in downtown Wilmington. The year before that it was the Odell Williamson Center over here in Brunswick. And we're returning to this side of the bridge again for this year, and John can tell you a little bit more about that.
Sure. Tell us about the Leland.
Yeah, well, this year we're pleased to be able to take it for the first time to the Leland Cultural Arts Center, which was recently opened this year.
Right.
And you know, what's remarkable about the jobs that we do is, you know, we don't have a budget that's given to us at the local level. All of our money comes to us from Raleigh. And so when we want to do a special event like this, we frequently have to rely on our community partners and ask for their generosity to recognize the importance of something like this and say, how can you help? This year, the town of Leland stepped up and said, we would love for you guys to host your annual event in our new facility. John Evans, the anchor of WECT out of Wilmington, is going to serve as our MC yet again this year. He very much gives back to our community.
Absolutely.
And he's been with us for the last 10 years at least. Judge Marion Warren, who is now the director of the Administrative Office of Courts, is going to serve as our keynote speaker. So, you know, it's going to be the right people at a wonderful event facility. I will tell you in the past we've had Brunswick Community College has donated the Odell Williamson Center to us. You know, we really rely on folks in the community who are leaders to recognize what it is we're trying to do. And they've been very gracious in coming up and helping us.
And if people are listening, want to come, we're not asking for money. Simply showing up is 100%. It's about supporting these families. While this is a public event, we get together with the families of these victims every month. And that's something in these homicide family support groups.
That's the ripple effect that we were alluding to prior to going on air, right?
They don't teach you in law school what it's like to lose somebody. And very fortunately, many of us who handle these cases haven't had that direct experience. But these mothers, these grandfathers, these brothers and sisters have. And so we put them in touch with each other. They come to the trials. They're there at the pleas. They are there for each other for years and years. There's no such thing as closure when you lose a loved one from a crime of violence, but there is such thing as legal closure. We're not talking about bringing joy, we're talking about bringing justice. Joy comes later through this process of healing, and people can learn to find happiness again, and they often do that through relying on each other. So one really important facet of this evening is connecting these wonderful families to each other, because they've become a great source of support through the years, not only for those families, but for the prosecutors and police handling those cases.
For all of you as well.
Well, Jim, let me expand on that idea, because there is a common thread that connects everybody in the audience, and that is they've all suffered a traumatic loss in the context of a crime. Most of us in our living have experienced the loss of loved ones around us, and that's always traumatic. But how much worse is it when your suffering is tied to the criminal actions of another person?
Right.
And there's this whole extra layer of grief which goes along with not only the loss that you naturally experience, but the fact that someone's responsible for that. And then there's this bizarre and bewildering legal justice process that you're thrown into, not of your own making. And it's hard to understand. And so what we've really done is we talk to them in legal terms about what's happening at the homicide support groups. But more than that, we're connecting them with people that are similarly situated and say, they've been in your shoes. They know what it's like to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, to grieve over the holidays. And, we've been very intentional about always scheduling this event the weekend before Thanksgiving, because in our experience, anniversaries are difficult for families to deal with, and holidays are difficult. So we like to create a support group around people as they enter into the holiday season.
But it speaks so well for the two of you. I'm reminded that this is in your 5 counties, but not in most of North Carolina.
There's 100 counties in North Carolina, and it's only in 8 of the 100 right now, and we're 5 of those. And to be clear, we are carrying the torch from other people's great work. John Carricker, who was the DA who hired the both of us, started the Homicide Family Support Group in the 5th District at about the same time that Bertie Frank was doing Justice for Citizens here. And when both of us had the good fortune of being elected to this region, we wanted to make sure to combine both of those great efforts, and that's what this night's all about.
Well, it speaks so well for the two of you that you're much more than a prosecuting attorney. You're serving justice.
It's part of delivering a comprehensive picture of what it means to bring justice to a situation, because to be sure, there's what happens in the courtroom, and we take very seriously our obligation of speaking for the dead and bringing our A case in the worst incidents that happen.
Sure.
But there's more than that, and the other side of the story is really helping people as they grieve, walking them through a process, making them familiar with what's going to happen ahead, and then connecting them with families that are similarly situated.
Gentlemen, we're almost out of time. Let's remind our viewing audience of the time and place of this wonderful event.
Jim, it'll be scheduled the Friday before Thanksgiving, which this year falls on November 20th. It'll be from 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. at the Leland Cultural Arts Center, located right there in front of Magnolia Greens. And again, the town of Leland is helping to co-sponsor this event.
John David and Ben David,
thank you very much,
both.
Jim.
You guys do
Thank you for your
job.
service.
Thank you for joining us this month on Our Hometown. If you have a story that you'd like to share on a future show, visit us at atmctv.com to tell us about it. Thanks again for joining us. Tune in again next month as we explore more of Our Hometown.
Stay connected with your community channel. Like ATMC TV on Facebook today.